Few things. It was former director of SDC. At the same time, it will soon be former professor of pediatrics, because I'm not a professor emeritus, so I will have to shed this prof part soon. So yeah, going from there, just sort of quick recollections. I can't stop it. It was 40 years ago. I just did my first presentation in the KSM as a student, and I think from that time on, and I have been doing presentation in KSM, and it is a great opportunity. And I must thank KSM, sort of generations of KSM leaders for providing this opportunity. I'm sure many of you all have got this chance to talk. Coming to a forum and talking is a very very stressful thing, and it's a sort of opportunity to learn and practice. It was 40 years ago with those handwritten transparencies. I did the presentation as a student, and since then I have been sort of doing at least once a year some presentation somewhere. I was doing more than once a year earlier, and those positive comments, remember, coming from I remember Professor Vijay used to say, it is very proactive. Your talks are very proactive. He used to use those words, proactive talks. And then so many, I mean, Professor Dr. Vattegama used to sort of give positive comments. Mrs. Rajapaksa and Mrs. Velgama, and likewise my teachers, I can remember they were making positive comments. Those positive comments infuse you with esteem, your self-confidence. You feel you're good, you can do it, and you start doing it again. So that was very important. In fact, I remember even Professor Nivanse once he approached, and that's original, it's good work, something like that. So those are sort of when when things comes like that, you get really positively motivated. So positive motivation is very important. So that's why this topic on positive parenting. In fact, the talk is not for LLB and LB. You know what LLB, no? Lamai bala ganima saha lamai bala ganima. It's not only for that. And my talk has sort of, shifted from there to more for a leadership talk. And I believe that you all are leaders of this country who are going to advocate, who are going to sort of promote. So therefore, my talk has it has sort of gradually shifted to that. So I'm not going to give you sort of lamai balagan or mehimai balagan. That's not the type of talk I'm going to talk. And then the other point about my talk is that I'm not going to cover the topic. I'm going to open the topic. So you have to cover the rest of it. I'm just going to go through some of things. Now, this first slide, you can see one document coming from Art of Parenting by UNICEF. It's a fairly recent document. And on the other side, you can see another document that's from the South African countries. And it's a WHO, UNICEF, and the Oxford and sort of multi-collaborating team. So my talk will evolve around this sort of guide. In fact, I have gone through several other important documents, which I will give you the list later. In this one, you have the foundation, establishing goals for your child, you and your child, and that will be the first part of my presentation. And then the rest of it is more in the walls of this house, proactive approaches. In fact, I'm going to avoid, or rather will not touch reactive approaches, because you all are sort of given the reactive approaches all the time. So how to look after child who is sort of uncooperative child, who is aggressive, who are fighting, and that's not my topic. So I'll be more confined to more for proactive approaches. So I believe that we should shift away from these reactive approaches, try to be more proactive, and then try to be appreciative if possible. So I think that's the sort of whole thing about positive parenting. We are most of the time reactive. We threaten our children, warn them, blame them, accuse them, tell them, advise them, counsel them. They are all reactive approaches. We tell, පුතේ ඔහොම නෙමෙයි කරන්නේ. පුතේ ඇවිල්ලා දැන් මේක කරන්නකෝ. So you can many tones, and it's very reactive. And then suggesting, sharing, describing, explaining, reflecting, inviting, and mentoring are more of a proactive approach. But then we should be able to be appreciative. That's great. How did you do that? Can I also join you? This is great. So that's appreciative approach. In fact, right at the beginning, I will tell you, if you have a parent who is sort of, having problems in looking after the child, one of the counseling step that you can do is ask the couple to sit and write 10 good things or 5 good things of the child. And then at the dinner time, repeat that, tell that. When they're talking about this, five things, so that's first thing. Second thing, in the process of learning, we have sort of talking, we are all sort of, 100% focusing of learning to know for the purpose of exams. But then we promote learning to become, change the behavior. And then that's not enough. We would like to have people who become advocates and facilitators and become role models and catalysts. And we like to see a transform change agents. So therefore, the process of education, I believe, is not a matter of giving information to remember. It's an application level. It's an analytical level. But that's also not enough for my feeling. And we should try to create change makers. I thought this slide is only for university academics. But gradually I feel it's for medical students as well. When I was preparing this lecture, in fact, the UNICEF document several times says that you must infuse the qualities of a change maker in your child. It's several times mentioned. And there are methods given in the thing. So there are things like, say, you must tell your sister and you must look after. This is how you should do it. So that's you are creating change makers. So it is a part of, it's not just for university professors. I thought it's a senior academics thing. And then I shifted it to a sort of junior academics. And then shifted it to the non-academics and the students. And I feel, and everybody, all of us, should try to become leaders. So this is one of the things that is very important. And then that's another thing. And then you need to have into the basics. I like to add another point to the knowledge base. One deficiency we have, major deficiency that we have is we think children are small size adults, which is wrong. That's not. They are different. They are different animals altogether. And they have various things like they are selfish. It's not they are selfish. They do not understand the other's perspective. They have their own perspective. And they have what is called centration. They are focusing on one thing. And they believe that things are not reversible. And you can deceive a child. Say you give the same portion of ice cream to a small portion of ice cream to the smaller child and big portion to a big child. And the child will say, "Oh, mata aduwen dila thiyenne." So just in front of the child, bring a smaller cup and put the same volume. And then, all right, so I'm happy now. Same thing. You give 2 biscuits to elder child and 1 biscuit to the small child. And child is, "Oh, mata ekai mati." So then you cut it, break it into 2, give it. And he's be happy. So that is because not he's a fool. He does not have developed that milestones. The lack of sort of, lack of conservation, lack of reversibility, like that. I think this is something we should teach. And then this slide is very important. This is to say that I think I wish if Chaminda was there. Chaminda is talking on this topic very well. This is to say that when you create stress, impact of stress, there is hormonal impact, neurological impact, immune impact, metabolic and genetic impact. අරුට ඉතින් බැනලා ඔගේ frontal lobe එක ඔක්කොම කාලා දානවා. එහෙනම් චමින්ද කියන්නේ. He is very effective presenter. He very well stressed the point that if you create stress, you are going to damage his hormones, neurons, immune system, metabolic and genetic. So there's enough scientific evidence to do that. So child rearing practices can create the world. So therefore, we must have the correct set of expectations. Unfortunately, the problem issue that we have is we have very limited expectations. Many parents believe that there's nothing else, only the growth is important. And the midwife sort of, put more sort of, energy to that thinking, and empowered by the anyway. So that is what is happening. That's one of the major issues that we have. We need to go beyond that. We need to think of the development cognitive function, and the health. When I say health, it's the perfect total health and the wellness of the child. But that's not good enough. You need to think of the child's spiritual, emotional, and social well-being. And we should educate the parents. We should, as doctors, should be aware about it. We should try to get those things into discussion. And then we should think of sensory function of this child, biological functions, wellness, personal growth, and then leaders, change agents. Now, the word has been added at the end because when I was reading those documents from the UNICEF and the WHO, they have used those words. So, therefore, we should widen our expectations, not just a matter of කොහොමාරි කරලා බර වැඩි කරගෙන කන්න ටික දීලා ලෙඩ නැතුව තියා ගන්නවා නෙමෙයි. It goes beyond that. So we need to empower our parents, empower our junior doctors, our society, medical officers, nurses, and touch these other areas of development. So, I mean, you can go on talking about the growth is not just a matter of feeding, weight gaining, height, OFC, and then the maturity as well. And there's a lot of misleading ideas among parents and doctors as well. We believe that දවස් දෙකක් තුනක් කන්න නැතුව හිටියොත් මන්ද පෝෂණය හැදෙනවා ළමයාගේ immunity අඩු වෙනවා බුද්ධිය අඩු වෙනවා ළමයා ඉවර වෙනවා කියලා, which is not correct. The growth is not that linear. It has a sort of staggering thing. It stops for shorter periods, and during that period they mature. Their body components do mature, and the same thing for the development. And we focus on gross motor and fine motor and social, but then emotional development is neglected. And we should teach our medical students to look at those things. And the sensory, all 5 senses need to be stimulated repeatedly, and then appreciate their sensory capacity, visual capacity, hearing capacity. We should appreciate, and then at the same time mind, take it as another sense organ. Health, safety, treatment, and immunity, all that is important. And the biological functions, there is a need to be trained. Eating, sleeping, bladder, bowel functions, that's a sort of that's a capacity building, that's a personality development. And then similarly, social skills, playing, interactions, communication, enjoying, responsiveness, they are all good skills that we need to appreciate, we should recognize, and we should train them. And cognitive functions, curiosity is very important thing. We should sort of enrich the curiosity of children by appreciating their curiosity, following their curiosity. When the child is going behind that ant and trying to see where he's going, and just join with him, enjoy that his seeking behavior and appreciate his seeking behavior. So give more energy to his seeking behavior. And then the experiencing, critical thinking, and creating. And the parents are too prematurely supporting children and not allowing them to make mistakes. And the mistakes are the great opportunities to learn. And you try to make sure that there are no mistakes. So that's how we are sort of disturbing their cognitive development. Similarly, emotional things are not being considered as teaching points. දුක හිතුණා නේද පුතාට? මටත් දුකයි පුතා. අපි හරි සතුටුයි දැන්. අනේ බය වුණා නේද? So all those things should be sort of used, and then give them that opportunity to experience them and talk about it. And then go into the spiritual things. We should start teaching spirituality right from the beginning. How to respect people, how to trust people, believe in people, and the critical thinking. And then the personal growth, confidence, self-esteem, self-actualization, self-directed learner, respect, and respectful. Now these are, some of our even sort of very high-level academics feel that, apata neme. And I mean, it was very recent interview I had, and the first year medical students were telling me, a very good first year medical student who is going to get a first class probably, he is telling me, no, application level, these problems are not our thing. We should not try to do that. If you do that, we might get confused. This is a true story. So I'm talking about application level things in child rearing practices with small babies. So this is very important. We should, many times just think about analyzing and evaluating how many times our parents are destroying and disturbing their self-esteem self-confidence. And how many times we have stopped him, are you undepressed? Are you? So likewise, sort of we are disturbing their self-esteem, self-confidence. And there are so many social skills, cognitive functions, emotional, spiritual, personal, and the wellness. Wellness is the now is yet another important concept to sort of bring in. We doctors are trying to cure illnesses, rehabilitate, prevent illnesses. Our focus is illnesses, nothing else. As much as the police is looking at the corruption, robberies, and bad behaviors. That's not the life. Life is there to sort of fulfill, grow, and flourish capacities. And the education should look at that. Parenting should look at that. Parenting should look at the child as a whole person to bring his maximum potential. So that's wellness. Okay. So to achieve that, I think that the UNICEF has produced this document. This is one of the documents. It talks about the good health, adequate nutrition, security and safety, and those three topics are being sort of well handled, or rather sort of gone into depth in the in our preventive sector, in the community medicine, but not so much about opportunities for learning, early learning, and not so much about responsive caregiving. Those two are very important to take us beyond this growth and development topics. That is very important. We are dealing with growth, development, and safety. We are restrictive, we are reactive in our approaches. So therefore, I am sort of focusing on that, and this is the other the UNICEF document that I was showing. Love, talk, read, and play. In fact, I would like to qualify love and interaction and engagement with the child. Talk and read and play along with household activities and projects and activities and working with the child. Love is the most important thing. Important of positive interactions with children. I think I like to incorporate into that care, responsiveness, respect, appreciative, encouraging, and attuned engagements. Simple things, smiling and laughing together, sharing jokes and silly games, holding, hugging, caressing, tickling, massaging, or other forms of positive physical contact with the child, and speaking in a warm and loving tone of voice. And just tell, I love you, my child. So that is very important. We need to do this, but then you need to take this message to your parents when children, then when you are looking after. And then interact with the child. The closeness, eye contact, and sharing confidence and secrets. Tell secrets to your child. And then rhythmical interaction through non-verbal language, imitations and exchange in positive body movements. Now the conversation should be attuned conversation and listening and respect. And then the follow the child's lead is one of the important thing. One thing you should do is you should observe what he is doing and then spot the child's need, feelings, emotions, joy, interest and distress. And then recognize, respond and respect and react and resolve and repeat. So you join with the child and respect that joy and then join with him and get attuned and repeat what he is doing. So that is what is sort of described separately in the responsive care. So you should follow the child. Now one of the things that happens and we notice is that the child is interested about the rose outside the window and he is looking at it. He is excited about it. But the mother wants to show him this apple. Ne puta me balanda apple, A for apple. What happens? His interest, his excitement is destroyed and disturbed. We do not allow him to connect those neurons, produce those neurochemicals. So therefore, follow the child. One of the most important direction from Maria Montessori in preschool teaching, where he brings in children, put into a place, very open place, lot of toys, various things to do, and they will go to various places. And when they go there, the teacher follow what they are doing. So that is the principle of follow the child. And then supporting, encouraging, and join with them. And then you can talk about it. Use words. Using words, don't hesitate to use words. Use lots of words. So that is very important. And then follow what the child is doing. You do it again. And what happens is children can't hold on for a long period of time. They will change it and take into another topic, another interest. And go with that interest. Don't try to stop him. So that is one of the sort of failures that we have. You get this, they can't do it. They are different. They are not adults. So that is very important. That's responsive care. And this is sort of, help the child to focus his attention and share his experiences. That's very important to enrich the curiosity. And then you must make the household sort of help the child to make sense of his world. So doing various things, you must sort of try to get engaged with the child in doing various things. And then it's very important to praise and appreciate. That I said, they appreciate what the child managed to do. First thing is for young children to develop confidence in themselves and the courage to try something new. They need to feel that they are valued and capable. That's very important. I have copy and paste what is there in that UNICEF document. The first slide I was sort of more my personal bias, but then this is what they are also saying. You must spot the good things that they are doing. You should label it, you should talk about it, and you should praise it appreciately. And spot it, give praise and explain what was good and why. Say, you must not only say that it was good, you must say why it is good. See, now I'm talking about small babies, 2-year-old child. What was good and why it is good as well. And then practice. To implement this, what I'm suggesting for you all doctors, how to practice it, ask parents to make list of the qualities that they cherish in their child or describe the happiest moments. So this is the sort of homework that you can ask your parents to do, and you do it yourself if you have a child. And ask parents to make a list of the qualities that they cherish in their child or describe the happiest moments, and then take it in the dinner timetable. So what I'm telling is, again, be reactive. So don't be reactive. So that's what we are doing. That's reactive. It's not useful, but be proactive. ඔයාද මේක කරේ පුතා, අපි ඒක හරි හොඳයි. අපි එහෙනම් දැන් මේකත් කරලා බලමුද? මේක නෙමෙයි දැන් මේක මෙහෙම ඇත්තද? ඔව් ඉතින්. So get engaged in a conversation. Try to be appreciative. මේ වැඩේ නම් හරිම හොඳයි. කොහොමද කළේ? මේක මොකද්ද කියන්නකෝ. අපි මෙහෙම කරමු. Likewise, so try to be appreciative. Help children to widen their experience. Let them do various things, multiple things. And with that, they will gather experience. Let them do mistakes. Now, that is very important and, very important. Now, say, for example, making and telling stories about experiences together. You have the experience, you talk about those experiences, reflect. පුතා උදේ අර වැඩේ කරනකොට නම් මාර වැඩේ නේද උනේ අපි දැන් ඔයා මෙහෙම කරනකොට මම හිතුවේ නම් මෙහෙම තමයි කියලා. ඊට පස්සේ අපි මෙහෙම කරානේ ෂෝක් නේ. ඊට පස්සේ බලමු අපි හෙට මොනවද කරන්නේ අපි. So plan with him, join with him and plan. And don't sort of try to do things like that. And drawing and looking at pictures and playing games based on their experiences. So take the child around and then come back and draw. අපි අර සමනලයක් දැක්කනේ අපි අඳිමුද සමනලයක්. මලක් තිබ්බ සමනලයා වෙන්න ඉතින් මල් ගහන්න සමනලයා ඊට පස්සේ මොකද වෙන්නේ? So engage with them. It's not just a matter of doing that. So there are number of sort of videos that you can go through, and then help them to learn rules and limitations and values. Now we are coming to a reactive or a restrictive part, and how are you going to teach rules and regulations? Now it is very important to do it as a developmental thing. Executive function skills, for example, self-control and planning. Let them learn. and positive discipline, responsible decisions, take care of themselves and others. Now that part is important. Parents should not exert power over their child by using assertive commands, reprimand, punishment, and coercive control. Now, teaching rules is not by assertive commands. පුතා ඔයා ඔය වැඩේ කරන්න බෑ මීට පස්සේ. මීට පස්සේ මේ පැන්සල අරගෙන අකුරු ලියන්න පටන් ගන්න නෑ. That's very assertive command. It's sort of as bad as දෙනවා කනට එකක්, same as that. So being assertive commands are not, helpful for the personal growth. Reprimand. ඔයා දැන් මේක කරේ නැත්නම් ඔයාට කැම දෙන්නේ නැහැ. That's little sort of, too much. And then punishments and coercive control. Now, punishments, coercive control, and those are left for uncorrigible behaviors as punishments. But more importantly, try to develop child's personality and the growth. Now, rules and regulation, before you try to impose a lot of rules, make the house safe place. So don't keep unsafe places in the house. Let the house be a safe place for children, and then keep dangerous and precise objects out of reach. Offer the child different options and let the child choose. So that's very important. Coming to the second topic, talking to children. Talking to children is yet another important thing. Where you need to talk to babies, children should be bathed in language, listening, attune, engage, respect, respond, and repeat. You must talk to child very much. Now, one of the issue now, so when you are talking, eye contact becomes very important, and the number of word matters, not the language. That's very important. The children who are given opportunity to hear a higher number of words are supposed to have better scholastic abilities at the age grade 3, 5, and beyond. Now, this is from the very scientific research. This evidence has come. In fact, this research paper says words coming from father's mouth is more effective than the mother's words. So I am giving some responsibility to father. So get the father to so that's one of the important things. And the talking should start soon after birth, first week. Start talking. In fact, what they say is read the book for the baby right from the beginning. Number of words. Now, one of the issues that we have in Sri Lanka is many parents, mostly the doctors also, same doctors, nurses, and teachers, and they try to teach young children English. And for that purpose, you get your grandmother or your servant to speak English. And how many words they know? They know only very limited. වචන 20ක්වත් දන්නේ නැහැ. ඉතින් ওই වචන 20ම තමයි කියන්නේ. Can you expose him to 1200 words, 2000 words by speaking English? No. So therefore, I believe that don't try to teach English at that age. Let the sort of, carer, if you are not there, most of the doctors are not there to look after their children. No? And let their carer, the grandmother, the grandfather, and the members who are in the family to talk freely. Don't put them restrictions. And I know that some of the doctors tell the servant or a sort of, household assistant, මෙයාට සිංහලෙන් නම් කතා කරන්න එපා ඕනේ. ඉංග්‍රීසි වචන කතා කරන්න. ඉංග්‍රීසි වචන පහක් කියලා දෙනවා. ඒවෙන් තමයි කතා කරන්නේ. Sitko, put tongue outko. So it's unfortunate that it is happening. It's reality. So talk to children. So the talking to children start from birth, 1 to 3 months. Start from birth with eye contact. Practice engaging, listening, and interaction. So that's very important to get engaged. It's not just sort of just a matter of sort of telling something for the sake of telling. You should have the curiosity, interest, and joy of talking with the child. And then children are talking. Their eye contact is talking. Their facial messages are talking. You should react to that. That reaction is very important. Talking with toddlers. Again, you must talk, understand what the child says and respond to it. And then listen to the child, respond, respect, get attuned, get attention, eye contact. And then it comes with the reading. And the repeat and with expanding. And then yet another interesting thing I read was, and you have to do a bedtime reading with small babies, have a small book and read it. And the same book again and again is acceptable. No, don't worry. And then have one-to-one time with the child. Nobody else, only the child, and love talk. පුතා අපි මෙහෙම කරලා දැන් ඔයා ලොකු බබෙක් වුණාම මෙහෙමයි කරන්නේ. That's sort of a love talk. So that's very important. And similarly, the reading also is an important thing. You must read, and reading should start from birth. I have said already, bedtime reading. Let the child complete the story. Now, that's another important thing. You go on telling the story, stop somewhere, and ඉතින් පුතා කියන්නකො මොකද උනේ කියලා. ඊට පස්සේ ඉබ්බට මොනවා වෙන්නේ නැද්ද? හාවා? ඊට පස්සේ හාවා මොකද කරේ? අයියෝ හරි වැඩි තමයි. ඉතින් මොකද කරන්නේ? So try to create some story. And whatever the story child create is good and sort of, it's valuable. Let the child complete the story. Let the child read. Let child also read. And then review the content with the child. වැඩේදී අපි දැන් මේ කතන්දරේ නම් මාර කතන්දර තමයි ඉගෙන ගත්තනේ. ඉබ්බයි හාවයි ගියා පස්සේ මෙතන උනා දැන් මොනවා වේද දන්නේ නැනේ. උතින්ද මේ කුරුල්ලෙකුත් ආවොත් මොනවා වේද පුතා. So try to create something new and then make, predict what next. Try to do role playing. Express your emotions and say, imitate that you are crying. Ayyo, ibanda giyane. So have some joy, and that is very important. And similarly, the play is a very important thing. And the play is recognized as one of the sort of, most strongest, powerful action to learn education. The best way to educate is play. Let them play. And the play is scientifically studied. And this group of people say that what you can achieve by play, they say 6 C's. You can create collaborators, you can create creative people, you can induce critical thinking, you can teach content, you can teach communication and confidence. These are the 6 C's. But then I always try to sort of expand things. I would like to expand it by adding these things. Play will teach compassion. I have evidence. So I'm just not my personal biases. And the play can induce compassion, coordination, connectivity, care, and courage. So you can think of many more. So play is something that can bring in lot of good qualities in a child. In fact, this has been studied, and it's much more than these 6 C's. Cannot be sort of, it's more research evidence in it. But when it comes to play, there are 3 stages of play. Initial stage is the free play, where these preschool children, the total free play we are talking, I mentioned earlier. And then they get into a stage of guided play, and then the playing under instructions. In fact, to be to be honest about what the literature says, instructions-led play is more educational than others, it seems. I don't know what the sort of reason is. I personally believe free play must be inducing much more brain activities, but then the instruction-based play is supposed to be more educational. So that's what is there. I have no right to sort of change those evidence from the textbook. Free play is linked to executive functions, self-regulation, social skills, self-esteem, health and well-being. That's what I was describing. Let the child go and do whatever he wants to do. You go and join rather than you start instructions. And this is very important when the child is young, where he does not have he's self-centered. He does not have the perception. He does not understand the perspective of the others. So that's very young children. But then when they start realizing the perspective of others, you can have adult facilitated play. And then direct instructions can be given. Here, the children, they start play and they are sort of having their own rules. When it comes to this stage, they learn to follow the instructions. So this is for bigger children. So the play is so important. Play is the work of the child. Play is voluntary, enjoyable, purposeful, and spontaneous. So that will enrich curiosity. So that happens in the circle time in school. And then the play is a sort of, skillful thing to do. And there are sort of guidelines and play facilitation guide. And there are training programs. And they sort of, talk about how to enrich the play. So that is very important. I strongly believe this should be a course for parents, and the KSM can take over this sort of task and have a one-day workshop for parents. how to sort of, engage with children. And you see now, it's very important to get engaged with children. If you are not engaged, see how much they are engaged, they are sort of really enjoying it. And then coming to this book, and I recommend you to read it. And these are the topics that this book covers. One-to-one time with your child, say what you see, talk about feeling, praising and rewarding, giving specific, positive and realistic instructions to our children, household rules and routines, redirecting negative behaviors, replacing negative attention, and then using consequence to support compliance, cool down for aggressive behaviors, and resolving conflict. You can see first 5 to 6 topics are more for reactive, proactive things, and then they have got into the other topics. And the book goes on sort of giving a lot of illustrations and stories. And I believe that you can use this as a sort of, for the purpose of training parents and teaching parents. This will be very useful. Now, if you take this example, what it says is, now this child is interested in this and he says, look, I am a soldier, I will protect you. But the mom is on the computer, the telephone and this thing. And then he comes and whack on the mother's back because he wants the attention. And see this one. Here the father enter the child's, play, and the child is doing something. He's trying to construct something. But the father comes there and then get the child, පුතා බලන්නකො මේ පොඩි ඒවා උඩින් ලොකු ඒවා තියන්න. ඉස්සෙල්ලාම පොඩි ඒවා තියලා බෑ පැටෙනවනේ. ඉතින් උඩු තියලා මෙහෙමයි හදන්න. So he's showing that child is not interested. He's leaving. That was not his interest. Whereas you enter the child's thing and then engage with the child. Ask him, what is it that you are doing? It's very interesting. All right. What is this? And this part is for what? This is for cattle, huh? Right, very good. So child will engage and child will enjoy. So that's very important. Say what you see, help in building relationship, supportive, chance, enhance vocabulary and induce thinking. So play is very important, but the play has to be sort of, you should do it in a manner with lot of understanding, intellectually sound, and you should be sort of sensitive. And there's a need to train parents to do that. So I'm not going to sort of take all this. And there are about 30, 40 games that they have discussed. And I think it's a good material for us to train parents if we can do it. And I think the preschool teachers and parents could be trained on this using this material. This book is available. I have downloaded it and I can hand over to Pradeep and you can use it. So there are a lot of other stories, right? Now, having said that, my last 15 minutes, now you need to think about yourself as a parent, as well as a teacher. And there are 4 types of parents: authoritarian parents, and authoritative parents, permissive parents, and neglectful parents. And then the Sri Lankan culture, we have another category of parents, we call them helicopter parents. Now, these authoritative parents are, they are the authoritarian parents. I'm talking about the last quadrant. So I'll go to the next slide and go. There are sort of authoritarian parents. They are very strict. They have rules and they say, don't do it. Now you must start now. You should stop now. You should engage. You must do this. So like that, Ajnadayak, authoritarians. And that is not conducive for self-esteem, personality growth, self-confidence. And they are going to be weak children. Whereas authoritative parents, they are authoritative. They engage with them and they are respectful. They join with them and like these proactive things, appreciative things they do. And the permissive parents are good. That's supposed to be even equally effective as authoritative parents, where they believe children has their own way to do things and let them do it. Why do you want to interfere with them? That's a nidhasara or a permissive parent. Neglectful parents, and many of the doctors are, so maybe I am also in that same category. You are neglecting your children and not looking at what they are doing, and that's for other social reasons. Nidhas parent, permissive parents are not neglectful. Remember, they know what is happening. But this helicopter parenting is sort of one of the worst things that can happen. And many of our parents are helicopter parents, especially doctors and the teachers. tuition class එකට යනවා. So bring the child from the tuition class. හරි පුතා නාව ගන්න 10 minutes වට තියෙනවා නාලා හරි. Okay 10 minutes මේ සබන් කැලේ තියෙනවා මෙන්න මේවා තියෙනවා හරි නානවා. අර දැන් හරි zoom එක පටන් ගත්තා. මම ඕන් කරලා තියන්න ඉඳ ගන්නකො ඇවිල්ලා හරි මෙතන ඉඳගෙන පුටු ඔහොම නෙමෙයි ළමයි පුටු කෙලින් කරලා ඉඳ ගන්නකො කොන්දරි දෙන්න පටන් ගන්නවා හරියට ඉඳගෙන හරි හොඳයි ඔන්න මම ටවල් එකක් දාන්නම් මෙතනින් ඔන්න හේතු වෙලා මේකල බලා ගන්න තේ එකක් හදන්න මම තාතයි කාලේ තේ එක හදන්න තේ එකක් ගන්න හරි ඔන්න තේ එක හදා හරි හරි දැන් ඉවරනේ හරි දැන් ඉතින් අපි ඩිනර් එකට යමු කෑම කන්න ඕනේ කෑම කන වෙලාවට අපි ඔක්කොම කතා කරන්නත් ඕනේ ඔන්න තාත්තත් එක්ක කතා කරන්න and then sort of it and the 12 හමාරයි කාමරේ දුව පාඩම් කරනවා දුව නෙමෙයි පුතා පාඩම් කරනවා දෙන්නම එළිය අම්මා කෝපි තියාන ඉඳගෙන බලනවා 12යි කාලට කෝපි එක දෙන්න හරි 12යි කාලට කෝපි එක and then the 1යි හමාරට දැන් නම් නිදාගෙන ඇතිනේ තව නිදි නෑනේ දැන් නම් නිදි හරි ගියා පොරවලා ගිහින් නිදා ගන්නවා so that's a sort of helicopter parenting. It's a nuisance. It become a real sort of nuisance for children and should not do that. That's equally bad and it's like sort of authoritarian parents. Authoritarian parents use the power and then they are harsh. But then the helicopter parents are using their sort of softness and their obligation. They create obligation. අර ළමයින්ට මේ කෑවේ නැතුවම අඬන්නේ මෙච්චර මහන්සිලා අම්මා හදනවා ඔයා කන්නේ කියලා අර මුකුත් තේරෙන්නේ නැති ළමයට බනිනවා that's happening now that's because they don't understand they don't have they don't understand the other's perspective and here also they just sort of do something similar so therefore as a nation there's a need to improve the parenting skills. In fact, so our ambitious thinking, we were trying to do this. I think Pradeep also was involved to do a survey on parenting skills. Now, this is Maastricht University model of parenting skills. In fact, the previous one, I must mention the name, Ramya must be online. And we have done a research. In fact, the Ramya Ekanayaka, one of my MPhil students, did a survey on this. And we have developed a tool to assess the parenting skills, whether you are authoritarian, authoritative, neglectful or permissive, and then you may have bits and pieces of each quality, and then I think it's a good thing for us to teach and educate the public. And this is a different thing. These are the parenting skills with the Maastricht University. In fact, to be sort of to be frank, we have not been able to complete this. These are important research, but then need power, money, and the collaboration and cooperation. And we as academics can put our cognitive input. And a lot of work done. I think I must have sort of, work about 200 hours on this. But, I can't take it forward unless there's cooperation and collaboration. Right. So as persons, so we need to develop that. And then I believe that we need to work as a nation as well. So I will show you one thing. Now, as opposed to the previous UNICEF document, this is the document from Sri Lanka. UNICEF for every child, positive parenting manual, again it's there, but you can see the picture. What do you think about this picture? Is it positive parenting? Both hands are held by mother and father. That itself sort of tells you the story. And these are the topics. Talking back, fighting with siblings, neglecting schoolwork, household chorus, returning home late, digital device. So those are the topics from the Sri Lanka positive parenting skill. And these are the topics from this African journal, topics. And then these are the things that they talk about, play facilitation guide. And then I think if you are sort of, I think people are very fond of Australia, raising children .net.au again gives a very good positive parenting guide. So I recommend you to read that and go and see that. So that's very important. I think going from there, preschool education should couple with parents' education. In fact, I was involved in this developing the preschool education curriculum, preschool education monitoring system, and then I was sort of, it was my suggestion, National Monitoring and Regulation Committee for preschool, and that is, I'm involved in that strongly, and it's my proposal and all documents I have prepared. And it's a cabinet-approved committee is there, National Monitoring and Regulation Committee on Preschool Education, where we have mentioned this. preschool teachers should train parents, positive parenting. Unfortunately, our preschools are like this. Now, I'm asking you to select the best preschool now. Huh? Number 1, number 2, number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5. Okay. So, which one is the best preschool? Huh? 2 and 4. Not 1, 2, and 5. Why? No, don't say that. Not Sri Lankan style, because you don't see an engagement, isn't it? The children are really engaged and they are sort of, really enjoy. Now, see how engaged they are. So their brains must be sort of really getting stimulated, connections, hormones, and really sort of developing their frontal lobes. So that's very important. Right, okay. Sorry, I should not go on criticizing Sri Lankan things, but then for a purpose of learning. And I was sort of, I was thinking serious now. Probably this is their showcase. And they probably have their classroom like this if they have shown it. But then when I search internet, I couldn't find a single picture like this in the Sri Lankan setting. So that indicates that their sort of, intention to show is this is what they want to show. Because as a nation, we are appreciating this rather than this. So that's what I'm trying to say. That's why I am sort of, agitated. Or I'm trying to say that this should be happen. So we should teach arts and craft. We should teach literacy. We should teach other things, and we should teach music, enjoy, confidence, and physical and gross motor skills. We should teach in preschool. See the thing, and then we should teach social skills, and we should teach nature. Get engaged in this type of activities, science and exploration, and we should try to create learning opportunities for them. And it is very important. And I think one of the sort of major problem that we have is we are not sort of doing it. Now, what happens if you what will you do for this child? A neighbor like, and then you run and sort of, get him back. Don't let this child do this. And then empower with technology is very important. So, finally, what I want to say is that we need to, I'm little sort of, people do label me as an extremist in this sense. This is not extreme idea. We should be reactive. As doctors, nature of the doctors is to be reactive on the problems that they have. Okay, so do that, no problem. But then as a nation, we need to look at the proactive aspect of it. We need to see that our children are growing, thriving, building their capacity, and nice people. We have very good, nice children. And why not sort of thrive them? Why not build them up? So that is the most important thing. For that, I think you should use love, talk, read, and play. I would incorporate. Now, this is what the UNICEF says. That's why I'm using those 4 words. But then for me, love is engaging with children, joining with children, respecting them, sharing emotions, feelings, and all that. And that will bring in our interpersonal skills, intrapersonal skills, our meta learning, and all those things that are very important. And then we should talk with children. Talking with children is not just sort of words that we talk. Our expressions talk, our emotions talk, our actions, reactions, and joy will talk. And then read. It's not reading just books and words, but also read emotions, read the colors, read the smell, read the sort of sensations, and read your emotions and feelings, and start reading. It's not only you reading the child, let the child read and get engaged, and then play. And the play, everything that you do at home is a play. When you are cleaning, it's sort of, you sweeping 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So have a dance and have a sort of, rhythmic chat with the child, and let the child join with you. So I think if you do that, I'm sure parenting will be, it's a enjoyable thing rather than focusing on the growth chart. Enjoy, get the society. I think I suggest for you all to sort of take this lead and then change the society, be a change maker. We need to be a change maker. It's not just a matter of you looking after your child. We are in the leadership. We need to change this society. We need to sort of take this message to the society and try to be a change maker. And I think the president is there, the secretary is there, and the future leaders are there in the KSM. So I'm suggesting to have some sort of a parenting skill developing sort of project linked to the KSM. That will be very useful thing. That's something that we can give to the society. Thank you very much.